they looked over at them at the city, and it was just like they're just plotting, like, we're gonna get you someday or something like that. I thought that was kind of funny. I was like, this Grimm is just grilling them like crazy. But they have a higher level of thinking. Like, they know when to strike, they know when not to, because they know the backlash that will come to them. So that's obvious that they have a high, like, a sense of intellect to them. I'm wondering if there's actually sentient, like, Grimm. Like, are there Grimm out there that can, like, I feel like at this point my mind's just out of whack. Like, are there Grimm out there that can talk? Are there Grimm out there that, you know, are there like humanoid type of Grimm or stuff like that? I'm just thinking literally outside the realms of possibility at this point, because I feel like that would just be insane. Like, now that we know that Grimm have some type of level of intellect, I just feel like if there's more Grimm that are developed or more Grimm that are revealed as time goes on, if those are more intellectual than the former that we've already come to know, because all the other ones look like they run off of their baser instincts of just being animals or creatures that just destroy and, you know, just live naturally. And lastly, the creatures of Grimm in terms of their intellect. Again, Oopleg taking us to school in episode 9, telling us about the Goliaths, how they've lived for so long, and how essentially them living and learning from their, you know, from their endeavors with humanity has caused them to learn and essentially to be able to adapt to humans, to where if they fight, they'll have a better chance of survival. That surviving and thriving in intellect is a lot more, I feel like it just has a lot deeper presence than just right now. I feel like there's a lot more creatures of Grimm out there who are even more intellect. Maybe some are even sentient and have, you know, speech or something like that, that command the underlings. I don't know if any of you guys out there kind of relate to the same thing, and I instantly had this thought process once Salem was introduced at the end of Volume 3. But when I think of the creatures of Grimm, I can't help but think of the Locust from Gears of War. So I mentioned this in my Chapter 3, Episode 12 reaction, but based on Salem's speech at the end of Volume 3 and essentially seeing her and everything, she instantly gave me Gears of War vibes. She gave me like the Locust Queen vibes of Gears of War, of the Gears of War series. And I don't know, for any of you guys out there who don't know, Gears of War is an Xbox exclusive franchise. Within the series, there are these species known as the Locusts, who are the greatest threat to mankind. They are the closest thing to mankind's extinction, and they play a pivotal role in the wage of war between humans throughout the trilogy. And in many cases, I kind of consider that like a parallel to the Grimm. The Grimm attack humans in all of their creations. The Grimm are the greatest threat to mankind, and a lot of the fact of, we don't know a lot about the Grimm. We don't know about the Grimm system. We don't know who commands the Grimm, where they come from. Do they have a chain of command? Do they have a hierarchy system? Is Salem considered the queen of the Grimm? Is there a king of the Grimm? And in my eyes, I kind of use the Locust system to kind of fill in those gaps. For Gears of War, Queen Mira was the queen of the Locusts, and similar to Salem, Queen Mira also had characteristics about her that made her look part Locust and part human, kind of like a human-Locust hybrid, and that's the same thing that we see when we see Salem. We don't know if she's a Grimm turned human, if she's a human turned Grimm, or if she's a hybrid between the two species. And when it comes to the origin of the Grimm, where they come from, who commands them, and things of that nature, that's very iffy. We don't have that kind of information, but based on the Locust structure, the Locust had a chain of command. The Locust had a hierarchy system. You had the queen at the top. Below her, you had General Ram and Scourge, who were basically the left and right hand of the queen and the whole Locust army. From there, you would get down to the more grunty level and higher echelon levels of the Locust. You had Grenadiers, you had drones, you had boomers, you had Cantus, you had the Theron guards, who were more of like the royal guards that protected the queen. And again, when you look at the Grimm, you kind of see that similarity. You see like the early, primitive, younger version of Grimm with the Beowulfs, the King Taijitu, the Depthstalkers, the Nevermores, and you see them in all different variants and forms. But then you get to the more higher echelon of Grimm. You see this Berengal, one of the first of its kind, who's very intellectual, very smart. You see more ancient status Grimm, like the Grimm Dragon, and you see someone like Salem, who may well be the queen of the Grimm. So in my eyes, I honestly really hope and feel that with this Berengal's performance, with seeing, you know, instances of ancient Grimm like the Grimm Dragon, seeing someone like Salem, we will eventually learn about the hierarchy system, or the system in general of the Locusts, where they come from. Do they have a form of a command system? Is there more higher echelon Grimm out there? Are there Grimm out there that know the human language, can understand the human language, can think like humans, can actually go full one-on-one, toe-to-toe with a huntsman like Crow or Ozpin and Glinda and have a chance of winning? All of the information is extremely exciting, and that's one of the biggest things that I look forward to out of the Grimm, out of anything. I want higher echelon Grimm. I would love to have an instance where there are Grimm humans, or humanoid Grimm, or Grimm that take the appearance of humans when it comes to being stronger fighters. And again, the Locusts are the direct link to that. That are instantly the first thing that I thought of when I thought of Salem and the Grimm as a whole. The next best thing would be like a humanoid Grimm, like a Grimm that walks and moves, and I would fucking lose. Like, yo, literally, you guys are gonna, like, literally, I'm gonna say this right now. I fear for you guys, for whoever watches my reactions, I fear for you guys the day a Grimm speaks the human language. Like a Grimm, not like Salem. Like, I fear for you guys to watch that reaction, because I will probably fucking destroy something in excitement. Like, that is like my fucking wet dream of Ruby. Like, a Grimm that walks, talks, and like responds and fights like an actual human. That's like my wet dream right there. That'll be like, that's like my #1 fucking wish for the show.
Kids, what's your status? Website's taking damage.
A talking Grimm! A talking Grimm!